What's up, folks? Panama Steve right here, Pacific Live Studios, and today we have Kung Fu Vampire. Welcome on in, brother.
Hell yeah, overdue.
Yeah, man, brother. I want to, give you your flowers, give you your props on everything you've been doing. 2 decades strong and counting. If you don't mind, just go ahead and tell us about who were you prior to being, Kung Fu, and I know if you don't know, he's from right here, San Jose.
Yeah, born and raised, San Jose, still here too. I started rapping really young. I started before high school, so this whole thing kicked off at 14, the summer before I started high school.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Santa Teresa, South San Jose. Totally different school then than it is now. Glad to see that it's a nice school. It wasn't a horrible school then, but compared to today, it was a war zone. There's no comparison, and it's actually pretty nice now. So I like to see that. Grew up in South San Jose, different parts of San Jose. As a kid, would spend a lot of time in East Palo Alto, Round Table Drive, and I used to live off Pearl and Branham. There's some apartments there across from the Wiener Schnitzel, and so I've been involved in hip hop since a toddler. I started breakdancing at 5 years old. And in fact, around 6 years old, there's a picture of me in a breakdancing contest at that Wiener Schnitzel on Branham and Pearl.
Damn.
Right there, yeah. So if you guys don't know where that is, it's like a few blocks, maybe 6 blocks south of all the car lots on Capitol, right?
Right.
So grew up over there, moved to South San Jose, went to Santa Teresa. I started getting into music because I was a skateboarder. And when I was skateboarding one time, I was walking in South San Jose in there's a creek that runs along a lot of the houses. And we used to go in there to do different illegal activities, different things. And I spotted a half pipe. This is actually kind of a way of telling my history that I've never told before.
Beautiful.
Spotted a half pipe, like one of them real ones though. 10 footers, like really huge, scary to drop down in, even if you're a good skater type half pipe. And so I worked my way around onto the street and kind of figured it out, walked by, kind of stalked that house a couple times as a kid. I'm a kid. I'm in elementary school. Fifth grade?
Fifth grade.
Yeah. I kind of stalked that house a bit. Yeah, I was 5th grade.
So you're like 10 years old.
Yeah. And it was a bunch of punk rockers that lived there. They played that music that's kind of like the Misfits, like old school punk rock.
Right.
And I caught wind of them and said, hey, can I come skate the ramp? And they're like, hell yeah. These guys are like adults or like high school. I can't remember because I'm only 10. I think they're in high school, but they look like adults, They let me in, and that ramp was scary. And I was already a really good skateboarder, and, it took some guts to drop in on that ramp. And while I'm skating, they start passing around the bong. I'm only 10 years old. They're passing the bong to me. It's filled with ice. You know what I'm saying? It's old school, right? The whole place smelled like skunk. And while I'm skating, they kind of dissipated, and I hear them upstairs. They're rehearsing or playing. They're jamming, basically. And the music was actually really good. It reminded me of like the Misfits, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And I was into rap and rock back then, so I could appreciate punk rock. Mm-hmm. And I went up there and watched them and really enjoyed it. And they were cool. They weren't manipulative towards me or picking on me. They liked me. They were respectful, even though they were, 8 years older. And so from that day on, I asked my grandma to help me with buying a bass. And so I did chores and things around her house, like worked on her house and did things for her to get the money for a bass. I bought a bass, started playing bass in the school band.
So this is at 10 years old, huh?
Yeah, and then the next year in 6th grade, I actually joined the school band. Didn't do anything like, what do you call it, like shows or with them or anything? Band shows, I don't know what you call it. But then when I went into 7th grade to play bass, I ended up moving to drums. And I loved the drums. I was really natural, and I was playing hip-hop beats. Like, I was replaying like NWA beats and stuff that I was into, like Busta Rhymes beats on the drums. After a while, the teacher basically said, hey, you're not listening, we're going to put you on timpani. And timpani was those big boom, 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 the huge drums. They basically kicked me off the drum set. The following year, when I went to high school, I joined the band, okay? So I was playing drums in the band. I was pretty good, but again, I'm playing everything a little bit swagged out, like Nirvana and stuff, you know? They want me to play boom, 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 and I'm playing boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? And they're like, nah, that's not it. So they actually kicked me off the drum set in that band as well. And they put me on timpani. Kind of same thing. I don't know if that's like a protocol, like, you know what I mean? Like you're still in, but you're gonna play the big easy thing that you can't mess up.
Right.
So at this time, I was a gymnast. I'd been in gymnastics since I was 8. This whole time, skateboarding, the music, and I had gotten to a pretty high level before high school even started. Competitive, nationals, made the national team type things as a kid. I was missing the concerts for the band. And the teacher was treating me like shit. She's probably only in her late 20s at the time. You know, you think she's an old lady, but it's because you're in high school. She's probably 28 years old. She would talk down to me in front of the class, and I was like a popular kid, and I was like not putting up with that under any circumstances.
So you were talking shit right back to her.
I was talking shit back. I was this hot-headed 14-year-old, super yoked out, short guy that was like a gangster that was not going to take no shit from nobody.
Right.
Nobody ever talked to me like that. I was a good student. Like, I was an average student, got along with teachers, but she was disrespectful. And her biggest thing was I wasn't able to go to all those concerts because of gymnastics. And that was such a bigger, more important thing. Doing gymnastics, better for you, more dangerous, required a lot of strength. It was a big deal.
Right, that was your
commitment.
Right?
That was my commitment.
Right.
Not the jazz band, bro. Come on,
Right.
especially after you threw me on timpani.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Again. Right.
Yeah. So she was talking shit. I was filling in on drums, and she was clowning, trying to clown because the school had taken my side on the gymnastics side being more important. The school said, hey, this is important. Let this guy, you know what I'm saying? He's already almost an elite gymnast at 14. He can't make it. Right. It is what it is. What do you want to do? So she's like talking shit in front of the class. And again, I'm playing a hip hop type beat. I'm swagging out, but I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And basically, she stopped it. She said something super foul. And I said, fuck you. I threw the sticks at her face from the back of the class. I threw both drumsticks at her. She ducked one. The other one kind of hit her. And I said, I'm starting a hip hop group. Fuck you. Now, mind you, this summer right before this, I had already started making beats with my homies that I met. Subsequently lived on that same street as that rock band. I started making beats with them. So my head was already in hip hop at the time. So right then and there, first quarter of freshman year, we started rapping, making our own beats, started releasing music immediately, and I haven't stopped since.
Damn.
Yeah. And I was breakdancing still at the time a little bit, but you know, once you get in high school, you want to look cool. You ain't trying to like do the continuation on the ground and stuff, but I would add breakdancing into my live shows.
So what year are we talking about?
90s.
It's in the 90s, right?
Yeah, late 90s.
Yeah, because I couldn't help but, look up, research what they say about you online, right? And It says 2001.
2001.
But you're talking about before
this
that.
was when I was a kid still, yeah.
Right.
I started. And the thing that was crazy is at my school, there was no Latinos, Asians, or whites, any non-blacks that rapped. There was no real rappers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was like one Mexican dude that rapped and a couple other guys, homies of mine. And when we came out, we were all mixed. You know, everybody was mixed. Asian, right. Black, Latin, white, right? And
the big melting pot on a record.
Yeah, and then we performed at the Martin Luther King rally in front of 2,000 people, the whole school. And we were swearing in the songs and stuff. And the principal sprinted over and grabbed the mic from us. And I guess one of my bandmates kind of did a shoulder shove, kind of hit the principal. Like it was a memorable shit show that was real rebellious. It was cool, man. And people fucked with us at the school from that day forward, you know? Like they were like, yo, you guys are crazy. That's crazy. You got up at the rally and did that. Especially at the Martin Luther King rally with Mexicans rapping. Like no Mexicans didn't rap. Cypress Hill was the only one. You know what I mean? There was white boys rapping. Like they were really surprised. You know what I mean? And we had my homies are big white dudes that are really talented and they could sing and play instruments. So this was a whole other thing that 2000s, late 90s was not really happening, you know? And that was kind of the beginning, bro. And we just kept going from that day forward, you know?
Man, so when they call you the goth rapper, what is your definition of that?
Well, it's kind of crazy because when I started the sound, I did a lot of the different. I always wanted to be different. I thought different. Everything about me was different, and I wanted to bring something different to hip hop. So, at the time in the early 2000s, late 90s, there was a lot of rock rap, and I was a purist of hip hop. Even though I loved Metallica, I did not like rock rap. I kind of appreciate it now because time goes by, you like things
Right.
differently,
You,
right?
you
I love,
grow up and you
yeah,
learn to appreciate it.
yeah.
Of
Like
course.
my favorite bands are like Duran Duran and Wham now, and I used to hate that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you change what you like. So at the time, I wanted to bring live music to hip hop, live band, but I wanted it to sound digital, synth. I didn't want it to sound sloppy. See, I thought that rock rap was real sloppy. That's just what I thought. It doesn't mean it was. I just thought, Limp Bizkit and this kind of thing. I was like, this is sloppy. This is weird. I don't like this white boy rap type stuff. I don't like it. It just felt, I don't know, man. Just like sloppy
didn't-
drumming. It
didn't
just
do it
was,
for you.
Yeah, it wasn't Busta Rhymes. It wasn't
Right.
NWA. It wasn't some of these people that I looked up to that were tight, lyrically tight. I love the DOC, who was like bringing gangster rap and lyricism to hip hop, and he's the biggest what if in hip hop, in my opinion, is the DOC. If you guys don't know who that is, look up the DOC. Got in a car accident, hurt his throat, and ended his career after one album, basically. So I wanted to mix gothic movie music, particularly like Edward Scissorhands, that big boom, 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 big horns, big synth, big cello, big violin sound to real lyricism, live band, hip hop, boom. Nobody's done that. Nobody ever did that. The only live band in hip hop at the time was The Roots, who was kind of tight, but still on a funk, fun tip.
Right.
But they brought lyricism to a live band, and I loved The Roots. The Roots and Cypress Hill were a big influence on what I do. So the goth part of it, basically, I created a band in 2001, and it was going to be all females on opera, cello, violin, upright bass, and we were going to bring that classic operatic gothic sound to hip hop.
That's sick.
And that was always what I sought out to do, and I did do that. And we ended up being a 10-piece band with 5 girls and 4 guys and myself. And we had all those elements, and it was beautiful. And I coined the phrase, the subgenre goth hop or gothic hip hop in the year 2099. And now there's a whole wave of goth rappers that are 20 times bigger than I ever could be. They're huge, and they don't even know that I created the genre. You know what I mean? And I love it. I don't even care. I don't need the credit. It's just, it's cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a bunch of them that are doing goth rap, gothic hip hop, but I created that, And they're all way bigger than me, and some of them are great. You know what I mean? Some of them are not, but it's awesome to see. So that's where that gothic aspect came in. I wanted to bring this big kind of a respect for the Asian culture vibe mixed with this emperor, this evil emperor. So you know what I'm saying? Like this
Right.
this Asian evil emperor vibe to orchestral hip hop. And that's kind of how it all started.
Wow. Now, do you think that from your initial influence and exposure from meeting those guys that were listening and playing that Misfits type punk rock, do you think that had a lot to do with the goth?
I think my aunt. So if you rewind even further, my aunt would actually take me to concerts in San Francisco when I was a little kid, like a kid in a club where they're smoking weed and there's big fog machines and loud. I saw Testament, Death Angel, DRI.
Damn.
The biggest thing is I saw Metallica as a 7-year-old in a small club.
Were you guys at the Cow Palace?
No, small clubs.
Small club?
I got to see them in a small club. Those guys had zits on their face and shit. You know what I'm saying? They were like younger guys, probably. I don't know how old they were, 20s? I don't know. It was a place called The Stone on Broadway, where all the strip clubs are.
Yeah.
In San Francisco. It's not there anymore, but I would go there as a little kid, 7 years old, maybe it was the first time I went. And then I saw Fear Factory, which is in the industrial world, like
I've heard of
industrial music.
Yeah.
There's Ministry, Fear Factory, a few others, right? Nitzareb. But when I went and saw Fear Factory, and mind you, my aunt would suggest some of it based on what she knew, and I would say, hey, I want to see this band. Even as a kid, I was like, I want to see this band, you know? And I went and saw Fear Factory with my aunt, and that was like, this is the shit. Because it's basically like metal, but also with keyboards, synthesizers. So it's a slight bit of what people would call techno back then, EDM. It's like EDM, metal. It's not necessarily screaming. Some of it's screaming. Some of it's ran through like a cool effects thing, megaphones. It's real creative. And so being a lyricist already, being into hip-hop, being into lyrical hip hop, even as like an 8-year-old, I saw the vision. I think that influenced it, and the punk rock guys too. I think that influenced me to want to be a live band.
Dude, it's crazy, and I give you props. And more than anything, like you have like a very wide variety. Like I didn't want to stop you earlier, but you mentioned like 3 completely different types of genres earlier, where you said like NWA, Nirvana, and then I forget who else you mentioned earlier. And this was before you're, just like when you're a preteen or, so it's interesting how you've kind of braided all those together and fused them and made you who you are, or I don't even know how you want to say it because it's on a different level. But I appreciate not only like the music part, but like the whole show that you put for the people, man. You're one hell of a performer. I would love to like hear like, because you got to put money into that, man. Talk to us about like the performances and like everything that you provide for the people as far as eye candy, because it looks like one hell of a show, right?
Yeah.
Especially this one. You just got back from one, didn't you?
Yeah, a couple of days ago. Yeah.
The gathering,
did
right?
the gathering of the Juggalos in Ohio. It's in a place called Thornville, which is the concert hall, or the concert grounds is called Legend Valley, and that's where Lost Lands is. So everybody knows Lost Lands, so it's the same spot, and that's where like a lot of the big festivals are, EDM festival, whatever. They have a lot of stuff. It's a really nice place, but it's right outside of Columbus. So you fly into Columbus, drive out there, 15, maybe 30 minutes from the airport, But the live show has constantly evolved. I was definitely doing too much in the early years, my early 20s, with when we first started Kung Fu Vampire. It was a 10-piece band, and my lyricism started taking a back seat because I'm trying to orchestrate this huge band and get these rehearsals going with these 9 other people, 5 of them being women, which was very interesting because some of them didn't quite get along with each other.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, the guys too. I mean, alcohol, drugs, not getting along. People were grumpy. People were hiding drug addiction. It was like they're all sweet people, and I'm pretty much friends with every single one of them if I see them. There's been so many eras of Kung Fu Vampire. This thing seems like it's been going on 40, 50 years, which is kind of ironic with a name like Vampire. And I'm proud of that, right? We've had so many different eras. But it was never meant to have different members, but we started adding more and more and more. And then the live show, like I said, was supposed to be this big orchestral thing with lights and all this stuff. But when we sought out, started touring, and we got on our first huge tour in 2010, that's when everything changed in the live show, because some of these members went, well, I didn't think we'd ever do this. I can't do this. I'm scared, right? Other people were like, I'm a teacher. I'm in school. Right? So people just dropped like flies. So they were just scared. They were never, they weren't ready to be a national act necessarily. They were happy just doing shows in California or for the weekend going down to LA. That was fine for them. And so this was a sink or swim moment for everybody. So the band whittled down to 4 or 5. We were 6 or 7 for a while. Then it got to 4 or 5. Then it was 4. Then it was 3. Now it's 2. And it's been 2 since 2018. So it's been a while now. 6 years. It's just been us 2. It was 3 of us, though, for a long time. And we're now on tour 22. We just completed our 20th tour,
Wow.
basically. Our 20th
Congratulations.
national, international tour since 2010. So we average about, 1.5, 2 tours per year. COVID, we didn't do anything.
Big props, brother.
Thank you, man. It's tiring. It's a lot of work. People see the show, they don't know what led up to it. But now our stage show is at a point where it's tight. It's the best it's ever been, despite people's nostalgia of memories of seeing the string section and all that. It's never been as good as it is now. And that's not even an opinion. That's just a fact. We're just better. The cardio's better. The strength is better. I can sing better. My drummer is the best drummer we've ever had. He's been with me 14 years. He knows the sound. He's produced a lot of tracks on the last 2 records. His name's Action Paxton. He's my right-hand man. And we've just gotten tighter and better with the lights. We own a huge amount of lights and stage stuff that we bring ourselves, which 90% of people don't bring, even big artists. So we're just out there trying to put on the best possible show with the littlest amount of people possible. And that's we've become a minimalist as a band. No more big tour bus. Now we have a Sprinter, no trailer. It's all the Mercedes Sprinter.
And quality has quantity, right?
Quality only, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
bro.
we're going to buy more lights here this off season. Like, I'm going to have to drop 5 or 10K,
What about so you had you get fire dancing?
Yeah. So the fire dancers, man, that's my guy, Adam Nuke. He's from LA, so he can't really rehearse with us, but him and his homegirls, they know the music really well. I didn't know they were listening to my music like that. So when we talked about what songs they were going to dance with us on, they're like, we already know what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we picked the 5 songs at this last festival. They came up and murdered it with us, and it looked like we had been rehearsing for weeks. Then they also played with me at the last gathering, last summer. So yeah, whenever, we can't add them all the time because you can't have fire in clubs, right?
Right.
Very rare. But when we can, we're going to bring them.
So is there any kind of, it just sounds cool. Is there a possibility of getting the band back together, not to sound tacky, but to do an old school show of the whole, do you still keep in touch with the old original band members?
Yes. It's a great question. So we have an album called Dead Sexy that's pretty famous. It's the one that kicked it all off. It's not my first album. It's from, it originally came out in late 2008, but it really got released in 2010 on our first tour. And that's when I was bald, actually with this goatee, which I haven't had this in years. I just did this last week. Normally I just have a beard, right? And so I was bald with the crazy goatee.
I see how much you be switching it up.
Yeah. So that cover, it's got my homegirl on it. She was 18 at the time of the picture, 19, and now she's in her mid-30s, early 30s. It's crazy.
Right.
I still talk to her all the time. But that cover, that era, made Rolling Stone's top 200 album covers of all time. This was years ago that they featured it in the magazine, the print mag and all that, right? And so that album in 2028 will be 20 years old. So I'm thinking about doing a 20-year reunion tour and having a cello and violin player. It doesn't have to be them, right? But bringing out a cello and violin player and me doing the full outfit, shave the head, full face paint, the rings, the whole 9. You know what I mean?
So you also played that role in a music video, wasn't it a 40 video or something like that?
I was in E40 Zombie video with Brother Lynch Hung and Tech 9. A lot of people think it's my voice on the chorus, but they called me the night before to come act in the video, and the chorus is actually, is it the Tales of the Crypt? That guy,
is it
the skeleton?
Yeah,
he has the high voice, right?
Yeah,
it's
I'm
his
not going to
voice.
attempt to do that laugh that he did.
You're a zombie. Yeah, and people were like, "Oh, I could see this being you." They all think it's me, but I've made it clear, hey, that's not my voice.
It's just a sample from Tales of the Crypt.
Yeah, man. And people go, "Oh, I love that song you're on with E40." I'm like, I'm not on it, man. I'm in the video. But it's brought a lot of fans to my music. You know what I mean? So it was cool. I actually got 40 gave me, so all the people that worked for us on that video or worked for them, all the staff, they were very shy because there was Sugar T, D Shot, Be Legit, me, E40, Chris Calico, Brother Lynch, Tech Nine, all on set. And a lot of them were late teens, early 20s fans, just scared to like interact with any of us. So they wouldn't drink any of E40's stuff, even though they were allowed to. And so 40 brought, I don't know the name of it. It's not the VSOP, but there's a special high shelf version of some cognac, of some Hennessy with the gold cap. I'm just drawing a blank. I'm not a big like liquor
Right.
guy, you know what I mean? But he's like, I'll never forget. He's like, Kung Fu, you need to take that bottle home, bro. And I looked it up. It was like $600 bottle.
No shit.
Nobody would drink it. So I ended up,
Just because everybody's being shy.
they were just being shy. They wouldn't drink it. So that ended up being my bottle. That was a good memory from that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me some more like memories of that just stand out. You know, like top three, maybe places. Oh, you hear that thing too? Driving me nuts. Top three places that maybe that stand out the most as far as like, you know, who you've performed with, or certain venues or certain epic moments in your life that really just stand out more than anything else.
Damn, there's a lot, man. There's a lot. Whew. There's good and bad, you know. There's so many.
Sometimes some of the bad ones you can't help but remember those, huh?
Yeah, I mean, off top, I've performed at the Playboy Mansion.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was really good, man. It was the full 10-piece band. We actually, if you guys know the layout of the Playboy Mansion, there's the grotto, the famous grotto.
Your average person doesn't know the layout, so if you don't mind, give us a visual of it.
So you've got this huge backyard with this pool that's all like natural stone, and up above it, there's a cave in there. So there's this grass and area up above this pool. Like it would be like a story and a half high, you know, almost 2 stories high, in order for there to be space for a cave, a pool and a cave. So we played on top of the grotto, and then so we did 2 sets. And then we went swimming and toured the grounds, came back and did a second set, then went swimming again for hours. And I'll never forget, man, I had 11 Bloody Marys in the pool as a non-drinker, 155-pound guy, right? 150, probably 145 then. And I had 11 Bloody Marys, and Playmates were serving me Bloody Marys the whole time. That was their job, is to serve people drinks. So they just kept bringing them to the edge of the pool. And I survived. No big hangover, nothing. We ended up clubbing that night, and that was a big memory, Playboy Mansion. There's plenty of new ones, too, man. I mean, most recently, we just sold out the Guild in Menlo Park with Tech Nine back a few months ago in April, and my daughter was in the front row of the show with her friend. And to me, that stands out as one of the most memorable things in my career so far. She's never been able to do that. So we're at a sold-out, beautiful theater. You know, there's 550 people there, which is pretty small, intimate. Upstairs, downstairs, loved ones in the building. And seeing my daughter in that front row, that was great. And the show went off beautifully. Everything was beautiful. Place was beautiful. That's where I'll be doing my South Bay shows probably from now on, is at the Guild in Menlo Park, man. Shout out to the Guild. I love y'all. They're great.
That's tight, brother. That's man, that's beautiful, man, that you're able to work with all these, you know, major artists and Tech Nine. You've been working with him for quite a while now, huh?
I did the last 2 Aprils, his West Coast tour. Well, his tour in April. We happened to be on the West Coast both times. It's kind of this theme, 420 week theme. So we just did those 2 Aprils in a row. It was great. And he's been a friend of mine over 15 years now. And awesome guy. Played with him in Canada randomly. Played with him a few other times. But yeah, just a good friend. Man, never really asked him for anything or vice versa. We're just friends, you know. Hopefully he gets me on an album soon. You know what I mean? It's 10 years overdue. I know he's been wanting me on something. We'll see when the right thing pops up. He'll throw me on there, you know.
So what you got coming next? I know you got something cracking.
Yeah, man. So me and my guy Buckshot are doing this Double Dragon album, part 2. We're working on it right now. That project came out in 2021. It's a huge project for us. I'd never in my life done a collab project. That was my first one, and it was great. Such a fun theme. It's got a Nintendo theme to it. This part 2 has a Super Nintendo theme to it. And we kind of implement that in the beats and in the style, and most importantly, the merch. You know, like the merch on this Double Dragon project is crazy. So we're working on that. I'm doing an actual local show here in California. I'm doing a Sonora show on September 14th. Sonora, September 14th. Never even been to that city, town. Excited for that. And then May, I'll be back out for my headlining tour. And I got some tricks up my sleeve always. So we'll see what pops up. But I'm going to spend this fall working on this record, my new record, and just be creative.
Hell yeah, to say the least, man.
Yeah.
No, I give you props on. I mean, we just talked about it earlier, just lightly, how you like kind of reinvented yourself and your look in all kinds of different ways. I mean, obviously your music stayed the same, you know, but for the most part, man, it's big props. Keep it lit, you
Thank
know,
you, man.
because you're doing it, you know, in multiple different ways and shit. So like, I can't even, you know, start to touch on all of them. So what I say more than anything is just keep doing what you're doing, man. Cause and you represent San Jose at the same time, man.
Oh yeah, bro. There's not really any nationals or people that do what I do that rep the city. You know what I mean? A couple people that came out of the city don't really shout it like I do. You know, I let it be known everywhere I'm from. I'm from San Jose. People try to ask me, you know, where are you from? What's your nationality? I go, San Jose. They go, no, what's your background? I go, I'm from San Jose, bro.
Right.
I'm like, San Jose. They're trying to get it out of me, you know? I'm like, nah, man, I'm starting a new thing. This is my culture. San Jose is my culture. This is where I was born. My parents moved here. They wanted me to experience this. I'm starting my culture here. This is where I am. I'm a San Jose original.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a pleasure to have
Thank
you, and I want you to let folks know where they can get a hold of you, your merch, and all that.
It's easy. Everything's Kung Fu Vampire. You go to kungfuvampire.com. Highly active on Instagram. Follow me over there. You know, everything's just at Kung Fu Vampire. We just dropped a really beautiful documentary on my YouTube. Again, everything's just Kung Fu Vampire, man. Show some love for me over there. You know, I don't follow trends, so you gotta seek out what I'm doing and see it to really to grasp what I'm doing. You gotta check out different types of content. You can't just listen to one song. You know what I mean? So hit Spotify. Check out the latest album, Black Heart Machine. I'm very proud of that. And get a feel for what we're doing, man. Follow us on Spotify, all that.
You heard it right there. This is Kung Fu Vampire on all platforms. If you guys are interested in getting one of these Pacific Vibe Studios hats, you can big shout out to my boy Hotheads, which is a mutual friend of ours.
OG friend, that's the homie.
That's your moral boy right there at hotheads.com. And you can hit me up for him as well, and Pacific Vibes clothing as well. Everybody, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure having you on, brother.
Man, thank you.
And until next time, it's Panama Steve at Pacific Vibe Studios. Y'all be cool.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.